Markus, so nice to meet you. Thank you very much for taking my call today. I have many questions related to some stuff that the band is preparing, some of the past. So, are you ready?
Yeah, definitely ready. So let's go.
Let's go then. Well, first of all, you're preparing a 10th anniversary tour in Europe to celebrate Shadows of the Dying Sun. And how is it for you to go back not only to this album, but to the very specific lineup that represents it? And also, what does the record means to you?
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool, and I definitely cannot believe it's 10 years that we released that album because it feels like 10 months, let's say like that. And for me, that album was of course really special because that was the first album I was really involved in the band. I joined the band in One for Sorrow cycle, but that was the first album I was writing some music and those were good times and time have been going really fast since then because after that we've been touring constantly all over the world all the time every year. and now it's time to stop and celebrate that album and again play that full album as a full, which we've never done before in actual live audience. We once did it in live stream during the pandemics. We played the whole show actually, now I remember. And of course, it will be really fun that Ville will be joining us on guitar because Ville is usually not touring and he's been quite absent from the band for years. And now he's going to join us celebrating this album. So really looking forward to it. And of course, also my another band Omnium Gatherum will be special guesting that tour. That was not my idea, I have to say it. Managers hate me and they try to kill me. But also Omnium Gatherum is celebrating the Beyond album, which is already now 11 years old, so it's not that sharp years, but it's going to be a really cool night to remember what was our medal in 2013 and 2014. So really looking forward to it and playing some shows that we don't do that often. So it's also interesting for me than to play the good old songs that we always play, same old.
Which one is your favorite song from that album?
It's really hard to say because, of course, While We Sleep is I love that song, but we have been playing that in every show since we released that album. So I've been playing that 1,000 times. So that's not maybe my favorite song anymore because I've few times overplayed that song. But songs like The River we haven't been playing, I think only a few times live ever, and I don't even anymore remember the remember the names of the songs. Uh, Words something. I yeah now I'm like a fool because I cannot remember and Lose Tonight. That's a really cool song that people always ask us to play, but we never play. I don't know why. And Promethean songs. So there's a lot of interesting things coming.
I found interesting how you mentioned that while we'll sleep, you have played it many, many times all over the years. But do you feel at some point, do you grow tired of playing the song, or do you still maybe feel the same excitement because maybe it's the first time one of your fans is going to listen to it live? So, how does it feel to have a very successful
Yeah.
song, but that you have to repeat over and over again?
Yeah, that's kind of way to think about that thing because we wouldn't be playing that song if it wouldn't be a fan favorite. So the audience is always exploding when we play While We Sleep, and it's usually encore songs. So the audience will get crazy. So of course it's really nice to be on stage and play that song every time. And that's the thing I've been many times. Well, I love Iron Maiden, for example, and I've been seeing them on shows, and when they play like Trooper, and I'm thinking the same, like, are they getting bored to play Trooper or Number of the Beast that they've been doing like 40 years? But I don't think they will get bored because it's the same reason why we always play while we sleep, because we are on stage to play for the people, so entertain people. And if people love those songs, and especially that song which they do usually in Insomnium shows, so it's always special moments to see these people crying and getting crazy and having a time of their lives.
Amazing. Well, now I do want to take advantage that you put already Omnium Gatherum on the table. This was going to be my last question, actually, but there's something that always have fascinated to me about the Finnish melodic death metal scene. And I do want to know, why do you feel melodic death metal had a big impact on Finland? And do you remember how it all started? Because you see many big names like Children of Bottom also. So what can you tell me?
I definitely remember that first spark, because I was there back in the time as a metalhead, music fan, teenager, kid, and I had just found like a death metal bit before these bands came out, and I was a huge fan of like a Florida death metal bands like Death and Morbid Angel and Obituary, and then also Sweden had all these good death metal bands like Entomb, Dismember, and Dark Tranquillity and In Flames at the gate started to do this. But at the same time in Finland, there came Amorphis and Sentenced, and when I heard those bands, I was like blown away. Like, what the fuck? Like, how can Finnish bands do the same thing? And that was the big boost of like myself. Like, then we formed also maybe a year, a few later, our bands like that you can do this kind of music also in Finland, and that people can like notice abroad Finland. And so Amorphis and Old Sentenced, like Karelian Isthmus, Tales from the Thousand Lakes, North from Here, and Amok albums, those were like really, really important albums for Finnish bands. And then like bands like Children of Bodom came as a next wave after Amorphis and Sentenced, and Impaled Nazarene is also like a pioneers of Finnish metal.
But what do you feel so many Finnish bands felt like very close to this genre?
I think something happened then with like Amorphis and Stratovarius. When you mix these bands, there comes Children of Bodom, and then you add the Finnish melancholy from Sentenced. That's about the Finnish Finnish soup of metal that's been cooking since the mid 90s, and that's our school also. OG is always more maybe into the Children of Bodom side of things, and Insomnium is maybe more to the Amorphis and Sentenced side of things. So, but the Finnish melancholy, that's in every band coming here, and it's more about the Finnish folk music and Finnish Christmas songs and Finnish folk music and Finnish religious songs. All these songs that we were listening as a kid, they are really sad songs, which is funny. We were always listening, sitting in the school as a kid, listening these miserable, melancholic folklore songs. So that's kind of programmed to our musical DNA in a really young and tender age. So
Very interesting background.
yeah, it's way different than, for example, I would think like Mexican music, mariachi music, and Latin music, which is really uplifting and happy and pumping, and Finnish music is not.
Awesome. Markus, before going with some of my questions, I noticed something very interesting in your background. You have a Randy Rhoads like spot guitar right there.
Yeah. There's the Randy Rhoads himself, and there's the polka dot. That's a polka dot replica of Randy Rhoads.
Oh, is he your favorite guitar player?
Yeah. My two heroes, Randy Rhoads and Edward Van Halen. That's my
Awesome.
school.
Great. Well, sorry for that break.
And no worries. I love to speak about my heroes.
Was Randy the first one or Van Halen?
Van Halen was the first one, and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden, and Yngwie Malmsteen, and Randy Rhoads, and Jake Lee also from Aussie Guitar Players.
Jake Lee gotta be one of the most underrated guitar players of all time.
Yeah, he had a bad spotlight coming after Randy Rhoads. Even he's almost as good as he is, and I love like Ultimate Sin and Barret the Moon albums and his guitar work on those records.
Awesome. Well, Markus,
really...
let's go back to Insomnium for a while. The next thing that I do want to ask you is, well, on your last album, you had a very special guest, one singer I really admire, which is Saki Stolis from Rotting Christ on the White Christ song.
Yeah.
How did you get in touch with him? Are you friends with him? Have you previously worked? Maybe
we have toured together already like years and years ago, and we remained as a friends. And Sakis is a great metalhead, like we all are, and great dude. And when I composed the song White Christ, I got the Rotting Christ vibe, and then things happened, and we were thinking to get like feature vocalists on album, and then I was thinking like, well, this song is kind of like tribute to Rotting Christ, so why we don't ask Sakis Stolis to be in it? And everyone was in, and Sakis was immediately into the idea, so it happened.
Awesome.
Insomnium Christ, Rotting White Christ.
It was very appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that I do want to ask you about the past of Insomnium is one of the most interesting albums I believe Insomnium has, which is Winter's Gate. In its core, it's this one long song about this Viking story, and I do want to ask you. I know the lyrics are based upon a short story made for it, and but how was the whole process of having this really one long song conducted uh, alongside very several movements? What can you tell me about that?
It's kind of the same that happened with the newest album Anno 1696. So basically, Nilo had a story, and he didn't know how to work it, and then he asked like, should we do a song about this? And then we immediately was like, yes, let's do it. And then we all kind of like work in a different fronts. So Nilo was doing the story, and then we were doing the music, and he just gave some like hints about the storyline, and then everyone get into the mood of the song. And then with Winter's Gate, we failed miserably because we were aiming to do like a 15-minute or 20-minute song. And then me and Ville and Nilo, we just had so much stuff. And it somehow, stuff we've been working at our homes, like not hearing what other guys were doing, somehow all that clicked together. And then we had like a 40 minutes of material, which actually worked together. So it was accident and coincidence by musical madness or magic. So, but somehow it was quite easy process to do. And then when it was ready, and then listening to music and then reading the story at the same time, it was like somehow this clicked perfectly, even unintendedly, some parts.
Great. Well, Markus, now that I have you here, let's talk a little bit of Omnium Gatherum, shall we? I think it will be very interesting because there's been like 3 years without a new album. So I do want to know, are you currently working on something?
Yes, I am. I've been finishing the songs for the next album as we speak, and we are going on studio quite soon. So next year there's gonna be something out.
How do you manage your times between touring with Insomnium and recording and also touring with Omnium Gatherum?
That's a good question. I don't know. Somehow, if there's a will, there's a way, and I don't know. I have the same amount of hours in a day than most of the people, I think, and I do also sleep every now and then. But I don't do anything else except the band, so this is what I do.
Excellent. Well, Markus, thank you very much for sharing these minutes with me. I have one last small favor to ask you. If you could please send an invitation to all the audience that is watching this video in Pólvora, that spells Polbora, and inviting them to your concerts here in Mexico, that will be amazing.
All right. So, hello, this is Markus from Insomnium, and you are listening and watching the Pólvora. And please come to see our shows in Mexico in December. See you there.
That was cool, Markus. Thank you very much.
I was just thinking it was December or end of November, but yeah.
It's the end of November, I believe. Shall we repeat it?
Yeah, did I say it all right, like Pólvora?
And you said it magnificent. It was right.
Yeah. All right. Hello, people. This is Markus from Insomnium, and you are listening and watching Pólvora. And see you in Mexico. We are coming there at the end of November, and come to see the shows, and let's get crazy.
Awesome. Markus, thank you very much, and I hope to meet you here in Mexico City when you come.
All right. Until then, take care. Thanks a lot.
Until then, bye.